Thank you. Myself is Gurmeet Singh Azad, and I am, my group's name is Koshish for Special People, which is running from last 6 years. I have observed that uh, all things are very well, the jobs are over here. I am also working with St. Stephen Hospital as a project coordinator in ACSM department. The basic thing I observe this, that we have need more accurate wheelchairs or other gadgets. Like if you see in India, the wheelchair are very a kind of which is not equivalent to America or German. If there's a normal person sit on that wheelchair, it will look like it will look like that he is a disabled. But when you sit in American wheelchair or German wheelchair, a disabled are not look like a disabled. That is the main thing. That issue I was raised in last year when President Obama was over here last year. That we please give us that technology. We have all the things. We have all the material over here, but we haven't that kind of technology. Do you think, Rob, that's question to you, up to you, because you are from America, you have seen lots of people are there who are doing their job in multinational companies, and they are running their own job, own business also. So what is your observation when you came to India and you see the people who are working in the companies, who are gone to the offices, and the accessibilities are there also. There are ramps and there all things are there, but the wheelchairs, I think that not kind of that wheelchairs are there. What is your observation? That is my question. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Well, full disclosure, I've only been in India for about 30 hours.
Okay.
But I have looked around the city a bit, and I don't recall actually seeing a specific wheelchair, but I certainly have seen, I think your broader point is that there are technologies elsewhere in the world that are not actually being found here yet. And this is true, of course, this is not unique to India, of course. There's not great sharing of technology around the world. And so I think the example is a good one of a wheelchair. Now I actually want to go see this, so that I have a specific example. But a slightly different example I've seen is that the physical access is actually very different to the buildings. There are cases where there are many homes I've seen that there's no way a person with a disability could get in or out of the home. And so the wheelchairs, it sounds like it's another example. So this is why, for me, what I believe is that the sharing, and we just heard that from Dr. Govan as well, that the sharing of best practices and ideas around the world is, I think, one of the most powerful investments of time and energy we could make. Because there are really smart people around the world who have solved a specific problem. And then there are other people in other parts of the world grappling with that same issue, and they haven't quite found the solution. Now, of course, the reality is in some cases you can't directly transfer it for cultural reasons or economics or many other whole different, if you think of the health care or medical systems, those vary widely in different countries. But setting those small challenges aside, I think the core principle is extremely important, and I think it has a lot of merit. So thank you for that example, and I will absolutely be on the lookout.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gentleman who has number 3. Yeah.
Yeah, hi. I'm Dinesh Kaushal from Wipro Technologies, working for accessibility initiative in Wipro. My question is with Mr. Rob. Couple of things. One is that you mentioned that in Kinect can recognize a person. So my thought was that if Kinect could be used for visually impaired persons to identify people around. Say when I'm moving around in this conference, I may not be able to know who is around and if I want to talk to that person. So something like that could be looked at. And another thing is that Windows Phone, I have been developing in Windows Mobile platform, and next option could have been Windows Phone. And As we know, it's not accessible. So when is this going to be accessible? Any idea?
Those are pretty specific questions. That's great. Yeah, so I will try to be as open and transparent as I can. So the first one around Connect, there are an incredible number of people and researchers and innovators looking at Connect today to find all kinds of interesting applications. So yours is an interesting one of trying to identify and people here in the conference, not one I've heard. So perhaps that's a project you can help us start working on. But in seriousness, there are an incredible number of interesting ideas with this idea of now that we have this ability for the computer to start to look outside of itself and start to identify people and understand what they're doing. So many interesting opportunities there. Your second question was around Windows Phone. So this is not a surprising question. It's something that we are absolutely committed to, and it's something that we absolutely were aware of. It's not something we forgot about in the first version. In fact, the team worked very hard to try to find a way to add accessibility into the first version. But the reality is that in order to build an accessible system, before you even think about accessibility, you have to have certain kinds of capabilities. Those capabilities were not in the first version of the phone, and they're actually unrelated to accessibility. So the shortest way to describe this is that the team is completely aware. They're working on it actively. We've had a lot of interesting discussions with people in the community to make sure we're very clear on that and to bring them in and talk to them about our plans. But it's something that we probably will not achieve for another 1 or 2 versions. So it's, in the new version, we did add some speech commands. You'll see additional improvements with every release. But to get to the real blind and low vision access, I think we're still a version or 2 away.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you for being candid.